just the other day, you guys might have seen the video where I made about the Pokemon Battle Leagues, associations. We have the older ones, the most popular one like the GBA, and we have the newer one like the EXPN U coming up. And I just pretty much laid out the groundwork of what I thought about them, what I liked and disliked, things like that. Now today I'm going to talk about them again, but I'm going to talk about what great thing we can do to make them a lot more better and interesting. I'm talking about storylines. What are these? Creating storylines, they're what we've all seen throughout esports and just, games in general. They just make things a lot more interesting. If you don't know what I'm talking about, well, let's just go further beyond just what the matches are. On top of the Pokemon being played, certain matchups, wins, losses, why don't we just get these newly found fan bases and let's just come up with storylines. Let's just come up with things to talk about in between the games, after the games, that are just not about, oh, well, he killed that Pokemon, oh, it's cool, or this Pokemon barely lived, or this, things like that. Why don't we just go into, say, rivalries, or how well a Pokemon is performing in general, that's like just utterly kicking ass, stomping the whole field, or one player's doing so well, he's always been doing that, things like that. It's going to add more excitement, it's going to add more entertainment. Just like I mentioned about very many esports games, they're just created because it just makes it more enjoyable, and sometimes they're just created out of thin air, or one person on some thread, forum group, or thing like that will just come out and just talk about it, and then a whole conversation gets started. That's what I want to see. I want to see just one thing mentioned about, say, a battle, and then we can just go on an hour conversation of why it's not just because of that battle, but maybe the person playing it, the history behind it. That's what we got to do. We can all get started, because let's just say with this new EXPN U league that we got started, we can automatically just get storylines started up. We already had within the GBA 2, possibly 3 storylines come through just in the first 5 weeks. We might have not realized it, but these are potential storylines. For one, we had the new 2 up-and-coming newcomer GBA coaches, which were Dan A-Drive and Mulvone of the Loudrids. They're both doing incredible. They're both new coaches, and they just come in, and they're just utterly just wrecking everybody. And then the second storyline we have ties in with Mulvone, because he had a Weavile. Within the first 5 weeks, 5 games of this whole season, he gets 10 kills, 0 deaths. That is unthinkable. Even like a whole article was made on why everybody hates that, and it became the talk of the GBA. See what we're talking about? It's just, that's a storyline right there. That's just, we have context on it, because we can go back to those matches and see why it's so good. We could potentially have a third one that would happen today, week 6, where there was actually a timeout between the Long Island Reggie-Rockies and the Utah Jasmine. That was something we could debate on how Nips even took that. He obviously was not happy about that, and the Utah Jasmine, they just went ahead and did it anyway. It was just a complete stall. That's something that probably shouldn't even happen. That should be like something maybe against the rules. That I could maybe do a whole video on that. That just wasn't right, no matter who it was being done to, who was doing it. But again, now we can talk about after that, how's it going to affect Nips going into, say, the next game? And how's it going to look at for the Utah Jasmine coach to just be like, oh, man, yeah, now everybody's going to see me like a staller, blah, 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 whatever. It's all these questions and speculations that we just come through in the game. Like, let's just say, for example, oh, this player barely won at the last minute, leaving now that the player, other player wants revenge. So, see, like, we just had it like there. Now, say if Nips comes in, playing him again, he wants that revenge. He's going to make sure he can beat out maybe the stall, or just utterly, he wants to beat him. But that might eventually be his downfall. Then we can talk about that, like, oh, he overshot it too much. There's another one we could talk about. Maybe say, oh man, we saw these 2 players on Twitter calling each other out, and now when they play, they're definitely, they're trash talking. They're definitely going to go all out this time. But I wouldn't expect the integrity of coaches like this in Pokemon to do that. Maybe not. Who knows? But still, it would be more interesting to see the first few matches from, say, the new EXPN U league kind of just be a little interesting. Why don't we have some sparks maybe before it? I wouldn't expect, say, trash talking, but, something like, just a random coach would say, oh, I think I'm going to win this whole thing. I think I'm just going to come in and just utterly dominate. I would like to see someone with a big chip on their shoulder like that. That would be interesting. Or how about A lot of weight is put on, say, the bigger channels. Say we have Hoodlum Scrafty, who is probably undoubtedly the biggest channel coming into this new league. What if he's going to be, the probably the most favorable one to win just because of his pedigree, just because of his experience on YouTube? But what if, say, a smaller channel just completely wrecks him, and then that guy's gonna, oh man, he beat Scrafty, we have to go after him now, because then he's gonna have the target on his back. See how everything just comes in like this. I actually came up with one potential storyline for the EXPN U. I might have some facts mixed up and around, but this is what I came through with some of my research. Let's say for the first opening week, hypothetically, Week 1, we have a matchup between Good Guy Ghastly of the Las Vegas Victinis and Hermesar of the Route 1 Bulbasaurs. Now, we know beforehand going in that they are very good friends. These guys have battled each other before, and, it's friendly at a competitive basis, but now these games count, okay? They count more than ever. Let's just say there's no gimmicks. Everything's out on the line. They can have creative ideas on their strategies, things like that. Both these coaches had time to prepare for each other. They battle each other. They know what to do. They're going to come at each other with full force. Now, to the last of my YouTube knowledge, I think Hermesar came out on top with a close victory, but I think that was just a gimmick game, so I still don't know. But let's just say the last actual battle they had, Hermesar comes out and win. Now, how would Good Ghastly of the Las Vegas Victims want to approach this? Well, we know he last lost the last match, maybe, or not. Let's just say it was a tie, but maybe he would want to come in some payback, or he want to show, okay, yeah, we've done some gimmicks, but when there's actual matches, I can come in and win. We also know that Good Guy Ghastly is in another Pokemon League in the MPL and has been performing that well. So now maybe a storyline for him is, well, he's coming into this new, bigger EXPN U League, like a step up. Can he perform at a high level, or will he just crash and burn like another league? Who knows? But that's something to think about for him himself. It wouldn't be putting a lot of pressure on him. It would keep an eye on him, but still, it would be interesting to see like that. Now, let's just say in that battle that Hermesar and Good Guy Ghastly have, it gets really close. It's down to the last Pokemon, and there's a miracle hack set that's like, say, a freeze from like an Ice Punch or Ice Beam that's in Hermesar's favor, and he ends up winning just through complete sheer luck. Good Guy Ghastly lost. Now, how's he going to take that after the game? For the rest of the season, that might be in his head. How, no matter how hard you try, you could just end up losing through luck. And that's another thing about this game that can tie into more storylines. It's just, wow, you just end up losing, and it wasn't even your fault. Now, what will that do? Will that just light a fire under him and just make him try harder, to where, I guess I have to prepare harder, to where the game is less about luck? And there is a way you can get up to there in the game to make it just as less about luck as you possibly can. But there's also the other side where that just completely tilts him. It just makes him just go down. He doesn't know what to do at the end of that. And then who knows? What if he fails to win a few more matches after that? He has control the whole game, then he just doesn't. You never know. But this is what we want. This is kind of, I wouldn't want like some person that's battling to just utterly just be depressed the whole time. That's what I'm not saying. I'm just saying, wouldn't it just be more interesting to think, well, we saw what he did before, what's going to happen now? Who's going to win this? How are we all going to take this? Now, let's say after that Week 1 loss, they both meet again in the playoffs. Now, see that we had that storyline from the first week, and then we have the playoffs, which count even more. What if Good Guy Ghastly just comes in and just completely, utterly stomps him, and he's maybe even wins the championship? Who knows? Then that would be an amazing storyline, to just think how you just come from nothing and just a utterly just terrible loss, and you just end up winning the whole thing. That was just the kind of thing you need to spark up your brain, just be, oh my gosh, I know what to do. So now you see what we created, just a simple match between friends. We would have just brushed off, yeah, these two are just going to play. They play like this, this Pokemon did good. No, if we just all come up with different things to add on to their battle. It's not like making stuff up on the spot and randomly saying stuff. No, we have to come up with a backstory. That's pretty much all this is. Okay? Now, one thing we can talk about is, like I said, about examples of other storylines. I already mentioned the one about Scrafty, and I already mentioned the other ones. The one thing I think, to end all of this, the one thing I just gotta say is we can't force it. We can't force these things to just talk about. We have to really look throughout all angles. Like I said, it took me a little bit of time to just know, well, both these players, Hermasaur and Good Guy Ghastly, were friends, and then we can just evolve from there. And like I said about Hoodlum Scrafty, how, yes, he is probably the biggest YouTuber, but how well will he perform, like, not knowing any of these things and how all the other YouTubers are. That's just how it's, all going to play out. But all in all, besides all that, I know we can just expect great matches, even without any kind of saying there's some kind of backstory, storyline, context, things like that. We're all going to get some great matches with this new upcoming EXPN U League and then the remaining weeks of the GBA. Can't wait to see how the GBA will close out. Like I said, there's already a few storylines within the GBA we've already seen, and we just did not realize it. But like I said, this coming summer for EXPN U is going to be great. GBA, can't wait to see the end of that. Thank you guys again for watching this video. I know it's a bit crazy how I come up with these podcast videos and talking about battle leagues again. I'm starting to get more into them, and as you can see me talking about them, I'm hoping people can kind of see my side of it and my version of it, and we're going to see what ends up happening. I thank you guys again for watching. Be sure to check out my other video I did on the GBA and my other battles and things like that. You guys all take care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys next time.